A stable shilling coupled with prudent forex hedging decisions in 2024 were key in flying Kenya Airways back to profitability after 12 years of loss-making. Kenya Airways Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer Hellen Muthuka said the carrier is keenly monitoring forex changes even as it strategically starts new routes and bolster its fleet to meet growing demand. Muthuka explained this and more to our reporter Allan Aoko in an interview held earlier. Take a look.
It's not easy to turn around a company, any company, but it's more difficult to turn around an airline. Yeah, because there are very many moving parts, there are very many facets that you think about. So the turnaround started, of course, the very first initial turnaround started in 2017. However, COVID came in. So recovering from COVID, of course, took a long period. Even from a country macroeconomics, there were issues because if you think about the currency fluctuations, they really fluctuated. Then there are also other geopolitical issues, like, for example, the wars that impact trading. For instance, fuel prices really skyrocketed in 2021. We saw stability as we went into 2022, 2023. So we have, there are a number of things that will basically affect the airline performance, which are external. However, the most important thing is the continuous focus on the turnaround from an internal perspective. So you see that with a stable shilling, you do not have variations, continuous variations. So, but when you compare 2024 to 2025, 2023 to 2024, sorry, in 2023 we had gains in revenue. So when you're translating your revenues into shillings, you had more revenues. When you're translating your costs into shillings, you also had higher costs. But that was made worse because we still had dollar-denominated loans in the books. So when you're converting the dollar-denominated loans in terms of the value of the opening balance and comparing it to the closing balance with a very unstable or increasing or devaluing shilling, then you're booking a bigger amount into the P&L. Now, come to 2024 with the stability. First, you open with a shilling that is high, but it went reducing. So of course you're reducing your impact on the P&L. But more importantly is the conversion of dollar into shilling loans. So now going forward, you have a stable impact from a P&L, from a loan perspective in terms of translations, because it doesn't exist. So the portion that now exists in terms of dollar-denominated loans is significantly lower. You see, the biggest issue we have, so forex, you can hedge forex, yeah? But again, it depends on exactly what it is you're looking at. If it is real transactions that you're hedging for. But if it is book translations, you might not do much on that, yeah? Because you're not hedging a transaction into the future by saying that I will want to set my exchange rate into the future now. So you enter into a hedging transaction. But now these are existing transactions that are in the books. So they're in the past. And all you can do is either do what we call an accounting hedge, effective hedge. So you have to do an effective hedge, confirm whether your hedges are effective, and hence you book any losses or gains through the balance sheet. Alternatively, if they are not effective, then you have to book them through the P&L. So there are only two options. So right now, we have the option of just accounting standards, using the accounting standards for purposes of hedging. My understanding is we have what we call the functional currency in the books. So that is the currency in which you trade in. And then you have the reporting currency, which, for instance, for Kenya Airways is Kenya shilling. So you'll never go wrong because the system automatically does the, what is it called? The conversions. So at the end of every month, what happens is that we take the published rates of the shilling and or rather the average shilling and all other currencies. Actually, we have a whole all world currencies because we trade with so many currencies. So that is uploaded into the system. The system automatically converts, depending on what the conversion currency was, into the reporting currency. All you do is run. So there is no much debate in terms of is there an error or is there no error. No, it's usually very straightforward. There are two ways of growing an airline. There is what we call organic and inorganic. I think Allan has explained that before. But that is where you basically put your metal, that is your aircraft, onto specific routes. Then the inorganic is where you work with partners to grow your network. Both of them will grow your top line, but when you put your metal, you also it also comes with costs. Of course, when you're using the inorganic, the revenue growth is not as big because it's a percentage, but still you get your passengers to where they need to go. So we have one of the strategies we're looking at is to grow the city pairs. How many places are we able to move passengers from? So you look at we are domiciled in Africa. So we want to basically say that we are able to serve Africa very well, given our geographic positioning. So how many places can we take them worldwide with our partners? So that's one big one. That's one of the big things that we are doing with partners. Number two is opening new routes. So for this year, we have announced Gatwick, and we are starting to fly to Gatwick this summer with 3 frequencies weekly, and we'll grow that as the demand grows. It's a new point in UK, so we'll now in total into the UK we'll be having 10 flights on a weekly basis. So it gives option for somebody who misses a flight to Heathrow. You can always go through Gatwick, and you'll get into London very easily. The other thing we are looking at is how do we serve Africa better. So we are looking at the network, and we keep tweaking to see how to ensure that we are able to serve Africa better in terms of frequencies, in terms of points. And so that basically is the second way we've been growing our network. In 2026, yes, we might have the aircraft we operate as we obtain them through either the operating lease or the finance lease. So starting with the operating lease, it's very straightforward. It's the way you rent a house. It is your house, you pay rent. You utilize it and ensure that you keep it in the condition that you've agreed with your tenant, with your landlord, sorry. That's the same thing with an operating lease. You take an aircraft, it has specific conditions, or rather, it is received in a specific condition. When you're returning it, there is something we call return conditions. It has to have all those the specified conditions for that contract. So you have to maintain it and you have to run it. Aircraft leases are normally long-term because you require to be stable as an airline to ensure that you have this aircraft serving your network for that period. So they are typically 8, 12, 16 years and could even be more. So that is the one form. And we do have aircraft that are are leased. I think they are in total 17, if I'm not wrong, but yeah, I can get you the number. Then we have what we call finance lease. A finance lease is a mortgage. So you get your house under mortgage terms. So you pay a deposit and you occupy the house. It is your house. You maintain it up to your standards. And after you finish payment of the lease, the mortgage, you own it. It's the same thing with aircraft. So you get a mortgage, then you basically pay it over a period, typically 12 years. Because why 12? They are expensive assets. So you cannot pay it over a shorter period. Even your own house, you pay it over 10, 15 years, isn't it? So it's the same thing. So it's an expensive asset to acquire, and basically you cannot, very rarely will you find that you can pay 100%, unless you're a big pocket or a deep pocket airline. But most airlines will either go for leasing from a finance perspective or an operating perspective.